Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Titan Chain snow tire chains with cams and V-bar links here on our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now guys, these are going to be a very aggressive, awesome way of punching through that snow and ice, making sure we are going to have a nice safe drive for ourselves no matter where we are. Now V-bar is going to be your most aggressive style here, and we also do have a ladder style positioning on here. So what that's doing, as you guys can see, I can fit a whole hand between each of our chains. That's going to give us great start and stop maneuverability. You're really going to feel it as those bumps are going to be there. But keep in mind too, since you're not getting full coverage over your tire and you are having those kind of hills and valleys, you're going to have a little bit of a hard time making your left and your rights, just having to get over each one of those humps as we do so. Now it's not going to destroy your turning radius, but it's just something that you do need to keep in mind. Taking a look here too, you can see that we do have those cams that we've mentioned. Later on in the installation, you're going to see how integral these are to making sure we have a nice tight fit here on our wheel. And that's something I really do like about the cams. They make it really easy to have a nice tightened down chain on your wheel with no trouble at all. Again, taking a look here at your V-bars, you can see we do just have that twisted link underneath with those V-bars welded on top. They make it awesome. Those spikes just punching right through that snow and ice. Not going to have any trouble, I think, getting through everything. Now with that though, they are going to be very aggressive to snow and ice, but that also means they're going to be aggressive to your cement. So if you do have a nicer driveway and garage, I'd be very careful about driving with these on them. I would really recommend going ahead and getting these on your vehicle when they're not quite in a place that you don't want them to do any damage. Now keep in mind that being a little bit colder, a little bit icier. However, I think it is going to behoove us to go ahead and make sure we're not damaging our own property as we get these installed. Well, it's not going to take us too much time to get them on there. Let's go ahead and see how our installation works. Well guys, to go ahead and get this installed, we're going to start by laying out our chain, making sure we don't have any kinks or links that are actually binding up. Now the V-bars do find to kind of bind themselves a little bit just because you have a lot of points of contact. So make sure that we're nice and furled out here, not having anything binding this up. Take note too that we do have our hard points of contact facing up, of course, with those V-bars and our pulled over coils there, making sure that we don't have this poking into our tires when we're setting this across. So we want that smooth side to actually be on our tire, which isn't going to take us too much time. Now talking about which tire we are on though, you will notice we are here on our rear wheel drive because, we do have rear wheel drive. That's why we're on our rear tire here today. All we have to do, simply take our chains, grab it right from the middle here. I like to kind of wing out my arms too, guys. Kind of just helps keep that from running right into our rim. Then we can start setting that across, bringing it over, making sure our V-bars are all pointed up and away. Don't want them to make hard points of contact with our tire. And go ahead and start fitting ourselves. So it looks like I'm a little bit set to the right there. So I'm going to shift these guys over just a little bit. Now we can go ahead and start setting our chain appropriately, getting us set to make our first connection on the inside. Here we are on the inside here. You'll notice not going to be too much room to have to get underneath here. Now the Cherokee is sitting a little higher, of course, than a sedan, but just keep in mind if you do find yourself in the ditch somewhere, this can be kind of a pain to get to. So, of course, it can be nice to go ahead and get ourselves set up before we're in that sticky situation. But we can go ahead and take these back connections here. We're just going to simply try to pull it as tight as we can, get that furthest point of contact. I might be able to squeeze one more chain here though. Let's go ahead and try it. And there we go, we're nice and looped there. Now you will notice you're gonna have some extra chains here and no real way to hold them off. So once you actually do go ahead and try this out at home a few times somewhere, you can go ahead and actually snip off these extra chains. That way we don't have these guys flopping around, maybe hitting on the inside here. Definitely don't want those causing any kind of damage, and they can just be an annoyance. So it can just be nice to go ahead and snip those off. Now that we have our back connection made, we can go ahead and bring ourselves to the front, start making our front connection. We're going to take our extra chains and our cam lever here, start setting in place and pulling back. Let's go ahead and see if we can't get that fourth one. Might be a stretch, but we can definitely try. Looks like we are going to have a little bit of time here to get it. Let's go ahead and go one back here, guys. Go to that third. We do also have those cams to help us shorten down a lot of this length. So that third one's going to go ahead and allow us to clamp onto here. Now you will notice how loose this guy is going to be, so you guys can see how it's sitting. So let's go ahead and see if our cams are going to be enough, or if we need to go ahead and go down to one more chain. Well, we actually did go ahead and get it to that 4th chain there, guys, just to cinch us up a little bit. Now, one little thing though, you will see it's going to start binding here at the bottom, even as we tighten these cams down. Now, if you were outside and you weren't anywhere where you have any kind of pavement that you're worried about getting damaged by your V-bars, you can just start rolling that chain a little bit, and that way it can start sitting just a little bit better here, as we actually can't get quite underneath our tire, so that's weight is keeping us from getting those chains underneath it. But now we can go ahead, take our included cam tool here, and start tightening down all of our cams. This is really going to cinch in a lot of this spread on our chain here, guys. All we have to do, press it right there in that middle slot, start turning it to get our chain to go down our track right there. And going the right way, of course, always helps. And there we've gone ahead and tighten this really good to ourselves here. Now this takes out a lot of that play though, guys. As you guys can see, those cams are great for fitting that in. I'm not seeing any of this shifting around. Now, of course, as we go ahead and roll those tires forward as we drive, this chain should go ahead and bind itself here at the bottom. And one last little thing that can be really helpful, guys, is to go ahead and grab yourselves also some rubber tensioners. Now, these guys are going to be great because all we have to do is start hooking them in on all of our quadrants of our chain, pulling that chain to the center there, and going ahead and starting to get it aligned on our tire. Now, all we want to do too is making sure that our hooks are pointed away from our wheel. Don't want that poking in, causing any damage. And we can just simply go around much like we would tightening the lug nuts on our car, by trying to go out in an even pattern for ourselves. Go ahead and make sure we're getting a good spread all around our tire. Of course, all those hooks pointed away, and that way we can go ahead and get everything pulled towards that center. So I think we are having a good fit here today, guys. Keep in mind, a little bit of goofiness going down here. However, as we roll those tires, I think we are gonna be in a good position. Now, keep in mind with your V-bars though, as you're doing this installation, highly recommend doing it somewhere you don't have pavement, a driveway or a garage that you don't wanna get damaged, because these guys are very aggressive. You're not gonna have a good time. Well, guys, as you saw, that installation doesn't take too much time. Again, I'm a real big fan of those cams. They just make it really easy to go ahead, tighten down. Therefore, we are staying nice and tight to our tire. Now, they are going to be made of a low carbon steel though, guys, so keep in mind they are meant to kind of wear as you are going around on the roads. However, we can take a few preventative steps to help us get a little bit longer lifetime with them. I highly recommend, of course, rinsing off that salt, getting it out of there, and allowing it to dry in a nice place. That before we're not going to add rust, and a little bit of oil or grease can go a really long way of making sure that we don't have rust buildup on these guys, especially in the off seasons. If you're not looking for something quite as aggressive as the V-bar, the twisted link can always be a great option. That's kind of putting you in that medium range of still being able to punch through that snow and ice without having to damage our driveway and our garage. If that's something we don't have to worry about taking off all the time. It also does come in this nice little canvas bag here. Now, I will say these guys break down very quickly, especially if you start getting them wet and throwing them in here. They're just not going to be the highest material or the greatest material for yourself. Can be nice to go ahead and grab ourselves a tote, some other kind of container to make sure that our kind of gross tire chains aren't going to be getting our vehicle gross as well. Well, guys, I think that about does it for our look at the Titan Chain snow tire chains with cams and V-bar links here on our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.